the heart that I see is the subclavian vein. That's the internal jugular vein. That little nub there, if that's internal jugular, what's that one? External jugular vein. Okay, those two merge. See how the blue arrow is pointing down? What's that blue arrow pointing down? Why is that there?
It should probably be the superior vena cava.
No, you're close though. Talking about the blue arrow pointing down.
That's going to the heart.
Yes, that's right. That's what it's showing you. It's showing you deoxygenated blood going to the heart. So this is the brachiocephalic vein on the right. This is the brachiocephalic vein on the left, and they merge to form the superior vena cava. Okay? So on this side, you have internal jugular vein, subclavian vein, external jugular vein merging to form the left brachiocephalic vein. There's the vein there. Here's the aorta. So that's the ascending aorta, and the aortic arch. And you can see these three branches coming off here. The first branch coming off, if I put a tag there, it's the brachiocephalic trunk, left common carotid. You should have to see it there. And that's the left subclavian coming off there. If that's the aorta, what's that? Pulmonary trunk. Very good. Let's also look at some of the coronary vessels here. If I were to say identifying sulcus anywhere along here, it's the anterior interventricular sulcus, just like here. These vessels, these coronary vessels, the blue one is the great cardiac vein, and the red one is we call the left anterior descending or the anterior interventricular artery. Okay. You also need to know the left and right coronary arteries. It's difficult to see, but one of them is right here and the other one's right there. So is that left or right? That's the right one. It's very long, right coronary artery. This branch along the right margin of the heart is which artery? Marginal artery. Very good. Circumflex goes around the back there. You can't even see it. These two, that little flap, what do we call the ear-like flaps? Ear auricles. Auricle means ear. You have to distinguish left from right. If you just put auricle, I'll mark it wrong. You can put the atria, like you can call that the right atrium or the right auricle. I'll accept either because in my mind's eye, the auricle, it is the atrium. It's a part of it. Move on. Here's the anterior view of the other heart. These two hearts, this red one and the other one we just looked at, are the only two heart models I tend to use. So here's these two forming superior vena cava. Let's see, they're the two brachiocephalics forming the superior vena cava. It's an artery. It's blue. It's an artery. It's the pulmonary trunk. Here's the ascending aorta. Here's the aortic arch. Here's our three branches of the aortic arch. Brachiocephalic trunk, left common carotid, left subclavian. Let's see. What about this artery right here? Which one is that? The right coronary artery. I think you guys are just recording that. You're not trying to participate. Well, anyway, that's the left one. So this is left anterior descending on this side. That's circumflex. You can't see the right marginal the way I took the picture here. But you can see this vein. It's great cardiac vein. And here are our two auricles right there. That's all I see right here. I do see one ligamentum something. Remember that? Ligamentum arteriosum. Very good. Okay, posterior view, or near the back of the heart, basically. On this big model, I'm not going to ask you, that's trachea and esophagus, don't worry about that. But these are posterior intercostal arteries, that's on your study guide. This part of the aorta is the descending or thoracic aorta. Okay. You can see this vein going into the superior vena cava. It's the azygous vein. You can see the great vessels in the back of the heart too. These four things are pulmonary veins. You got two on the left and two on the right and two on the left. Okay, that's all I see back there. On the other heart, I mean, it's the same deal. Pulmonary veins, two on the right, two on the left. Can't see much else. I see azygous again going into the superior vena cava. There's not much else I can see on the model. This is the diaphragmatic view. Remember that hole is just a hole for the stand. This is the posterior interventricular sulcus. What's this sulcus? It means crown. The coronary sulcus. Here's the coronary sinus, number 34. So it's a posterior interventricular artery, and the middle cardiac vein is the blue structure. Let's see here. Usually on a test, if I'm pointing to an artery and a vein and they're really close to each other with a pin, I'll be sure to put on the index card pointing to the blue thing or the red thing. So in case it moves, and you're wondering if it moved, you can look at the card to make sure it's where it's supposed to be at. So what's that? 60. Inferior vena cava. Okay, you can see the pulmonary veins up here. That's all I see there. Let's look at the internal features of the heart. Here's the right atrium. This is a muscle, pectinate muscle. There's a bunch of stuff on the inside I can tag. That's the opening of the coronary sinus. It's difficult for me to see. I think that's they're trying to show you the fossa ovalis, so you are responsible for that. The fossa ovalis is the closed hole of the foramen ovale for fetal circulation. Let's see here. These are kind of out of sight. It's kind of hard to see. That superior vena cava. Here's aorta right here. And that's pulmonary trunk. But this is really just showing you the opening of the right atrium. Here's what the right atrium looks like on the other heart. Right ventricle looks like on the red heart. Again, that's the right atrium. This is the right ventricle. This right ventricle, you can see two valves. If I put a sticker there and I say identify a valve, put pulmonary semilunar valve. Don't leave out semilunar and don't leave out pulmonary. Okay, be very complete in how you name the valves. I'll always put it on the cusp of the valve. And I want you to identify the whole valve. I'll just say identify valve to make it clear. So if I put it right there, I'm going for the valve. It's tricuspid valve. Or you could put right AV valve. I'll accept that. So if I put it on these structures, that's the heartstrings, the chordae tendineae, and the papillary muscle. You cannot call it heartstrings. That's just a nickname. Nicknames don't count on a test. Something on your study guide is a cone-shaped main, conus arteriosus. It's the funnel part that leads to the artery. Okay, so I'll put the sticker right around there. Okay, here's the left atrium and the left ventricle. The right ventricle looks the same on this model. I didn't include it, but this septum is the interventricular septum. These structures right here are the heartstrings. I would put the sticker above the heartstrings if I want you to identify the valve, which is the bicuspid valve or left AV valve. If I put a sticker like on the rough part, I'm going for the chordae tendineae. What's this rough stuff in the atrium? It's pectinate muscle. Okay. These two red holes on the inside, you should be able to identify them. They're the orifices of which veins? Pulmonary veins. Yeah, that's all we see on this model. The heart's pretty basic. Here's the same chambers viewed in the other model. That's pectinate, and the rough stuff down here is chordae tendineae. Trabeculae carneae. Yeah, trabeculae carneae and pectinate. This is the bicuspid and chordae tendineae. So. Here's a picture of the vascular skull. I kind of zoomed in a little bit. Sorry, blurry out of focus. This model has been torn up by students. So there's supposed to be 3 branches that go anteriorly. I only see one, that's basal. I do see the 2 that go posteriorly.